What a better way to spend a July 4th than to visit the Wisconsin State Fair Park, the legendary Milwaukee Mile, and enjoy NASCAR racing at its best. Today, the NASCAR Busch Series is in Milwaukee. The DieHard 250 is live on TNN Motorsports. Hi, everybody. I'm Eli Gold. Hope you're having a happy and very safe July 4th weekend. It is unseasonably warm here. Temperatures well over 90 degrees. The heat index exceeding 110. It's about as unlike a Wisconsin day as you'd expect to find. Let's bring you up to speed on the news of this weekend, and I wish it could all be good, but life isn't that way, nor unfortunately is this weekend. Driver Jeff Krogh, the Idaho native, involved in an accident here yesterday. He was unconscious when he was taken from his race car and remains at this moment in a coma in a hospital here in Milwaukee. The good news is his vital signs are getting stronger and stronger by the hour. We talked with John Darby just a few moments ago. He is the NASCAR Busch Series director. He said what Jeff has going for him right now is his youth and his overall good health, and everybody is hopeful of a complete recovery for Jeff Krogh, but he does regretfully remain in a coma at this very moment. And I know that you folks at home, along with all of us here in Milwaukee, share that same thought for a complete, full, and speedy recovery, and that Jeff Krogh will remain in our prayers while he is hospitalized here in Wisconsin. The other major story of this weekend also has to do with the medical condition of one Dale Earnhardt Jr. An accident in practice here yesterday. He chipped a bone on his shoulder blade, an injury very much like what Bobby Labonte endured in NASCAR Winston Cup competition. After the trip to the hospital, they took the primary car back to the transporter. The backup was qualified by Ron Hornaday. So, Steve Burns, the car is in the field and ready to go. How about the primary driver?
Well, he's strapped in and ready to go, Eli. You know, Dale Earnhardt Jr. has won the last 3 consecutive NASCAR Busch Series races, and he has the points lead. The good news is this is a winning race car. It won at South Boston. But Dale Earnhardt Jr., the big question is, how do you feel, and can you go the whole way?
You know, I think I can. We got Ron Hornaday standing by just in case things get a little too rough. It's been a little sore all day yesterday, and mostly this morning when I woke up, it's pretty bad. But, you know, we got something at stake here, and that's winning another championship, and we're going to do whatever it takes to win it. And I ain't going to lose it because I laid down, and that'd be a little too hard to take. So we're going to stick in there as long as we can. I think I can finish the race. We got a real good car, and I think we have an opportunity at winning this thing if we can play our cards right.
Well, Eli, as Buddy Baker says, the apple doesn't roll too far from the tree.
Amen to that. And speaking of Buddy Baker, after spending last night in Daytona Beach, he joins us here in Milwaukee today. Buddy, since you weren't here yesterday, take a look at those tire marks. Those are the Dale Earnhardt skid marks going off into the wall. He did come back after the trip to the hospital, and with that brace on, a flak jacket, he ran the final practice here yesterday. A lot of folks, though, just don't quite understand that even though it is a flat track and only a mile, you carry some major speeds into the corners here.
Yeah, it's pretty simple to understand what happens. You run 140 miles an hour down the straightaway into a 9-degree bank turn, which is basic. It's really flat. You go in there, if the car breaks traction, it washes right into the wall. You do not have the luxury of the bank to scrub off speed as you get to the outside guardrail. I mean, you're out of control. You hit very, very hard.
Now, why don't we concentrate for a moment on the NASCAR Busch Series point standings to talk about a guy who's had some problems of late. Matt Kenseth, as you saw here on TNN Motorsports at Dover, Delaware, spun not once, but twice and tagged the wall. Again on TNN at South Boston, the same problem. Then a weekend ago at Watkins Glen International. One more time, the number 17 did the carousel on the racetrack. Larry McReynolds has also made the trip north from Daytona, where last night your driver, Mike Skinner, finished a strong 4th. I'll tell you, Matt Kenseth just can't keep spinning his chances away like that.
No, he can't, Eli. And with the third-place man being almost 300 points behind you, even though we're halfway, you get a sneaky feeling that it's a 2-man race. 3 races ago, Matt Kenseth was leading the points. Now he's 129 points down. If he's going to stay in this championship contention, not only has he got to keep that car straight, but he's got to start focusing on getting some more top 10s and top 5s to beat Dale Earnhardt Jr. at the end.
But if there's a place he might be able to do that, it is right here in Milwaukee, because we're in Wisconsin. He's from up the road in Cambridge, Wisconsin. This could be the weekend for Matt Kenseth. Find out when we come back.
That's it. Easy in, hard off. Easy in, hard off. Y'all clear. You're running them down good, buddy. Keep digging.
As they sit on the main straightaway, the engines have just been fired upon the command of Brett Favre, who's the Grand Marshal here today, the great Green Bay Packers quarterback. And we are set to go racing here. The man who leads them from the pole, that Castrol GTX car, number 27, that is Casey Atwood. Glenn Jarrett, every week he's doing something to impress us.
Absolutely, Eli. If you've ever heard the term rising young star used to describe a promising young athlete, then Casey Atwood is the walking, talking, living, breathing epitome of that terminology. The 18-year-old youngster from Nashville, Tennessee grabbed his 3rd career Busch pole in only 45 career starts. He has been fast all weekend. He unloaded fast. He has stayed fast. Now, he only has a second-place finish, I say only, but that's his best career finish up till now. They think that they have the race car right now to give Casey Atwood his first-ever career Busch win this weekend at Milwaukee, and I'm not doubting him. He continues to improve and to amaze us each and every week. Before I throw it back to Eli, I want to tell you one more thing. We got a thermometer down here. The on-track temperature right now is well up into the mid-120s. It's hot.
I believe it's so. A warm day. Now the AutoZone race analysis brought to you by the more than 2,500 AutoZone stores across America. AutoZone, the best parts in auto parts. And look at that, 8 different winners in 8 Milwaukee Busch Series races. It's always unpredictable here. And which of 42 starters will it be here today? Why don't we check out the starting grid for you and today's DieHard 250. First pole of the year. 3rd career pole for Casey Atwood. 2nd place finish in 98, Elton Sawyer. Todd Bodine's finished 11th here over the years. And Mike Bliss is going Busch Series racing again, Larry McReynolds. That was the car that had been campaigned earlier in the year, but it's set aside for a while, and the family made a change when Lyndon Amick got out of the machine.
Yeah, you know, sometimes even though it's family-oriented, you know, you've got to say what's best for this race team, what's best for this business. We've got to find out what our equipment can do. We've got sponsors and people to answer to, so maybe we need to see what really can get this thing on track.
Northern driver Ted Christopher is here. Buckshot Jones' car is going to go to the back of the field because he was in Daytona yesterday. So when it was qualified by one driver, raced by another, they have to go to the back of the field. Same thing for Kenny Wallace. He'll go to the back of the field. Dale Earnhardt Jr. is going to start from the back of the field in the backup car. And also the number 36 of Tim Theodore. You see him there in row 19. He will start from the back of the field. An unapproved engine change has been made. We have car 56, Jeff Krogh, in there out of deference to his qualifying effort of yesterday. Krogh, the gentleman we spoke of earlier, who's hospitalized here in Milwaukee, and obviously that team will not start, but we want to leave Jeff up there as he is truly part of the starting lineup for today's DieHard 250. Who's going to be giving us rides around this racetrack? Well, Jimmy Johnson is going to be. You may not know Jimmy. It's only his 4th Busch Series race ever, but he's a standout of the American Speed Association. Dave Blaney will be giving us the lift around in the Amoco machine. Scott Hansen is in the car that normally is driven by Andy Kirby. But when Hansen qualified it yesterday, NASCAR says you start the race car. Randy LaJoy, slow yesterday, all day, until final practice. Then he was quickest of the afternoon. Shane Hall gives us a lift in car number 43. And from the back of the field, Kenny Wallace. Again, having to start back there when his brother Mike Wallace qualified the car. While Kenny was down in Daytona, Mike Wallace was here yesterday to run the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series event. There you see the non-qualifiers. Dennis Setzer tried to qualify a car for Dale Jarrett, but that didn't work out, and those are your non-qualifiers here. As the field gets set to go racing, 250 laps, 250 miles around the Milwaukee Mile on July 4th. Glad you're with us. By 4 car lengths, leads lap number 1. Third race that he has led here in 1999. Led 3 laps at Atlanta and 3 laps at Richmond.
Boy, a car that's really on the go right now is in 4th place. Mike Bliss is making a charge. Did you see Matt Kenseth in the 17 there under Jeff Green down in turn 3?
They work now off the corner.
Still there.
Eavesdropping on Kenseth's radio.
Still there.
That was Jason Keller in the 57. Getting up out of the corners, if you notice, it's almost like there's patches in the corner there, and that's exactly what it is. The old,
That was spun out too. No caution. No caution. Keep going.
You hear it. We have one spun out. That's Brad Layton from the Busch North Series, but there is no caution. And we continue under green here in Milwaukee.
Eli, those patches down in the corner, those are polymer strips that they put in there because the asphalt itself was tearing up. They put those strips down in there. It does not get as slick as asphalt does under the heat.
Kenseth wins that battle with Jeff Green for the moment. And now they'll settle in line. Or will they?
Matt Kenseth pushed out a little bit there. You see Green on the bottom side and his teammate just behind him, Jason Keller in the 57. That's a good race down the front straightaway towards turn 1. Jeff Green tucks in.
Notice these are long sweeping corners. They go in on the bottom, let the cars drift up just a little bit and back to the bottom on the exit of the corner. You got to make these race cars. It's real important here, and you'll hear them as the day goes on. The cars won't turn. They're pushing. The front ends won't cut. The car that can go through the center of the corner and get back to that throttle, they'll be the ones that'll be at the front at the end of the day.
Glenn Allen Jr. in the 38. Eli is looking right over the back end there. He was thinking about making a pass, but I think right now they're letting the air pressures get up in the tires, get all the handling characteristics proper, and then you'll see the guys with the good chassis move up front.
Glenn Allen Jr. there in the 38 car. Had some very good runs here over the years. In 1996, if you were with us, he went from 30th to 2nd, but later was eliminated in an accident. Then in 97, he ran as high as 5th. Before finishing 16th. Some guys just like the finesse style on a flat track like this.
You said a mouthful, and that's what you have to have is finesse. You don't just jump back in the throttle. As flat as it is, if you jump back in the throttle, it kicks one end or the other out. So you really have to ease back in the throttle almost like you have eggs under your feet.
Well, that battle for 5th place is ongoing, and it now is won by Jeff Green. So he takes the spot, while Casey Atwood leads Todd Bodine by 0.7 of a second. Just underway, 6 laps into the DieHard 250. Casey Atwood by 1 9/10 seconds leading the DieHard 250 here in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Eli Gold, Larry McReynolds, Buddy Baker, Glenn Jarrett, Steve Burns on hand with you here at the Milwaukee Mile. All right, where's Dale Earnhardt Jr.? Started back at the field's tail end. He's now up to 26th spot. And he is cut right through there in a backup car that really had little time before they had to qualify it yesterday, but he did run the final practice.
Yeah, and you know, they have notes from last year. This car was so dominant last year, I'm sure they put the same setup right back under this backup car, and they were pretty well dialed in.
Oh, I guarantee you, he didn't win last year. He spanked them hard here. And you got to believe, again, when you got this caliber of team, even though it was a backup car, you got to believe it was just as good as what they had out as a primary car.
And you're right, they led 208 of the 250 laps here a year ago, so you're right, spanking is a good adjective to use.
Yep.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. now up to 26th. closing in on the grub machine.
Eli, even though Earnhardt has a lot of pain right now, the more he gets into the flow of the race and gets more concentrated on what he's doing, he'll actually begin to lose some of the soreness, because the heat inside that car is almost like going to a therapist and getting a little bit of therapy on your muscles when they're real sore.
There's Scott Hansen. He is a Wisconsin native from Green Bay, has thousands of laps on this racetrack, and he's got one of our suspension cams on board his machine. Take a look at that.
All right, what I want to show you right here on this suspension cam, look at the sparks from the rotors there. That just shows you, look how the rotor's glowing right there. But one thing we want to talk about, we've heard so much about it over the last month from Winston Cup. It started being mandatory here. It's this wheel tether. It's a cable that's hooked around the jack boat and it hooks around the spindle, and should all of this come loose right here, that wheel tether will hold that spindle assembly on and hopefully keep it from going out of the racetrack or in the grandstand.
That is our Tech Fact today, brought to you by AutoZone and the more than 2,500 AutoZone stores across America. AutoZone, the best parts in auto parts, and those became mandatory, as Larry Mack says, today, along with Winston Cup, that's had them mandatory, the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. They became mandatory yesterday here at Milwaukee. And remember, a couple of weeks ago at Pocono, we showed you those hood tethers that are not yet mandatory, but certainly NASCAR is looking at how those might work.
Well, and we actually run those every race car at Daytona. They become mandatory at Daytona for the Winston Cup cars now, starting yesterday. Everybody run them, and we got to believe that's going to be better, because hoods are something that's very vulnerable to come loose.
And like we say, nothing mandatory in that area yet for the Busch or the Truck Series, but you might guess it's around the corner. Who knows? We'll all find out together.
You know, Adam Petty, right in that area right there, the 45 car, has to be delighted. That car looks to be handling quite well, and you know that grandfather had a little bit to do. He used to fly around this racetrack.
Justin Labonte is on the pit lane. That's Terry's son. Never good when the hood goes up in lap number 17. Let's go to Glenn Jarrett.
Well, Eli, I got an observation to make, I guess, for Larry. One thing we talked about at the top of the show about how the guys would always be complaining their cars are loose. We've only run 18 laps, and already Todd Bodine in second and Elton Sawyer in fifth for car number 98. Larry, they're complaining about their cars being loose, and I got to feel like that, you know, you set the car up so it won't be tight. When we've got this extreme hot weather, the racetrack must already be slick. These guys are already complaining about being loose.
Well, the thing about it, you know, I think here, especially with the air pressures down, and as far as these guys need to run on tires, you need your car a little bit free at the beginning of a run, because chances are it is going to get tighter. The front end's not going to want to cut as you get into a run, but there's a fine line there. Again, as you mentioned, as hot as it is, as slick as it's going to get, you don't want the car too loose. That's not going to be good either.
Working now, lap number 19. There is the leader, Casey Atwood, by 2.5 seconds. He is up on Todd Bodine, but we're just now getting going. To the second, Casey Atwood is pulled away from Todd Bodine here in Milwaukee. There is a change, though, in 21st position. That's where Dale Earnhardt Jr. now has begun his climb back through the field. After starting at the tail end, there he is. He is running a goodly distance, as you'd expect, still behind the race leader. Earnhardt Jr. is 18 seconds back, but he's cutting his way through the field.
He has that, and if you watch him in the corners, he's giving the car a little bit of advancement in the center part of the corner. He goes in very low, sweeps out, actually gets the car out on the asphalt part of the racetrack, and then cuts back onto the strips there that we talked about, the polymer strips that he's on right now. That really, really helps the car free up if you let it go out and then turn back across.
And I tell you one thing he also knows, and he's being smart about, this just shows how much he's matured in a year and a half. He knows he's having to work traffic, and he needs to take care of that car and these tires. See, he floats it up in the middle of the corner there. That's easier on the tires, back to the throttle up off the corner onto the straightaway.
You know who else is doing great is Randy LaJoy. We had talked about him riding with the Bob Evans team right now. He is up to 18th. Remember, we told you, and as he said, I said, what happened? He goes, we were just stinko all day, as he put it. They qualified and had to use a provisional to get in the field in 37. And look, he has picked up 19 positions after being fastest at happy hour. It's amazing how things can change with one or two adjustments.
Randy is not been noted for being your best qualifier, but he normally, when they drop that green flag on race day, he's normally headed to the front.
And he also cut his teeth on racetracks, just like a track that didn't have a lot of bank on him. He has a lot of finesse in the corners, as you can see there. Watch the forward bite. He gets out of the corner there and pulls up on Dillon as they head down the front straightaway.
And Mike Dillon in the Kingsford car, number 59.
All clear.
Butch Miller is in that Channel Lock car, number 40, having taken over from Stanton Barrett. Obviously, Butch Miller is one of those who has had wonderful runs here over the years. 3 wins in the American Speed Association. Hasn't done all that well in the trucks in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series when he came here, but he has run awfully well here in stock cars.
And he also raced a few races for Travis Carter in Winston Cup, so he has a lot of finesse as far as driving race cars. Sometimes maybe didn't have the best ride and got shuffled back to a division, but very talented race car driver.
Up to 17th now in that number 40 machine. See the rundown in the upper left-hand corner of the screen. We'll keep that there much of the day, so you'll know where your favorites are running. Matt Kenseth, meanwhile, another of the Wisconsin Brigade. He's right there in 6th spot, car number 17, behind Jason Keller in the 57. And you talk about battles there. Remember Kenseth, as Larry Mack told you on the pre-race, he's second in points, 129 down. He's got to hang right with the race leaders. Now Dave Blaney, he's on the move. Started back in 16th spot. He's up to 8th place.
This is a good look as you go down the turn 1. You can see him right against the yellow line. Now he's out on the asphalt part of the track, cuts right back down, lets the car float out against the wall as he heads down the back straightaway.
Hugely talented driver from the Pennzoil World of Outlaws has made the move to the NASCAR Busch Series and a couple of races in NASCAR Winston Cup competition as well.
Eli, this is a huge crowd. I know you can see them in the background there, but this race, I mean, I don't think there's a seat left anywhere. This is a huge crowd for Busch Grand National.
Some good battles middle of the field. That's Kenny Wallace in the 25. The 74 is Tony Raines, who used to live here in West Allis, Wisconsin. That's where we technically are, although we're just a few miles from downtown Milwaukee. We are technically in West Allis, and those 2 cars, Wallace, with whom we're riding and looking back towards Raines, are 29th and 30th.
Just thinking about Wallace, we made the plane trip from Daytona this morning with him. He is nonstop. He never shut up in 2.5 hours.
I caught him between stories and did finally catch a nap, but it wasn't for long.
Kenny Wallace, he's a dandy. That's what makes this sport special. Personalities like him. We're coming right back. More from the Milwaukee Mile on July 4th. On a beautiful but steamy day here in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Heat index over 110 degrees here in town. That's not in the race car. That's in the grandstand and down on the pit lane. It's a warm one here, but Casey Atwood continues to show the way. He is in traffic now, about to put a lap on Scott Hansen, who's in that car that Andy Kirby normally drives. So Atwood's lead is only a 1.5 seconds now. You know who's doing really well? Car 35 right there. That's Mike Bliss from the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. Drives the Exide truck, but was in that car last week at Watkins Glen and again here today. Ran a couple of NASCAR Busch Series races a year ago at California and Indianapolis Raceway Park. Glenn Jarrett, he's doing a good job.
Well, Eli, he certainly is. He's one of the quickest cars on the track. In fact, he and Todd Bodine, Jeff Green are rapidly gaining on Casey Atwood. But you remember when Mike Bliss had all his success in the Truck Series, his crew chief was Barry Dodson. Well, guess who the team manager on the 35 car? Barry Dodson again. Barry's got to be nice to work with Mike again. You guys still got that magic.
A lot of fun, Glenn. We had a shot at the win last week and had a failure again with the clutch, and we were good here right off the truck. We're fighting a little bit of a loose end condition. I think that's something Mike's not used to with a 105-inch wheelbase car, but we don't want to get it too tight getting in and make it tight in the middle, but we're real happy. He's doing a heck of a job.
You guys really seem to have some chemistry together.
We do. You know, when you take a guy and win the first time out with him like we did at North Wilkesboro, it just kind of clicks us in.
All right, Steve Burns, that's more.
Hey, thanks, Glenn. You know, guys, at the top of the broadcast, we talked about the injury suffered by Jeff Krogh yesterday afternoon in practice. But one nice note to pass along in that story, Lyndon Amick, as you mentioned, was the driver of the 35 team. His father, Bill Amick, is the owner. Mr. Amick sent his plane back to North Wilkesboro last night to pick up Jeff Krogh's wife so she could fly here and be at the medical center with Jeff.
And that's something you see time and time again in NASCAR. It doesn't matter if it's for a sad situation when someone's hospitalized or if somebody has to fly home quickly because their wife's about to have a child. Somebody's going to say, here are the keys to my jet, have at it.
Yeah, it don't matter if it's Winston Cup, Busch, or Truck. You're out there trying to outrun each other every single race, but when a person has a problem, they all cling together just like a big family.
Casey Atwood showing the way, 40 laps complete. The 66 is Todd Bodine. He's in second. The 35, that blue and white car, that is third place, Mike Bliss.
Eli, while we're talking, there's a lot of people that join our telecast for the first time, and when they hear somebody say the car is tight or it's loose, let's do a little bit of talk on what is push and what is tight. When you have push and you hear somebody say it's awful tight, that means the front end's giving up grip. And when you hear it's loose,
well, that means that the rear's losing grip. And, you know, neither one's a lot of fun to drive. But at a place like this, I think you want it just a little bit free. We talked a little bit earlier. You don't want it loose where the rear wheels is spinning up off the corner, but you want that thing just free enough, like Barry alluded to, a little loose getting in where that thing will turn through the middle and off the corner.
Up, they pick it off the corner. Is it tougher to set up a car for a flat track like this?
Well, I think it is because, again, you're trying to reach that compromise. And with these 9-to-1 engines, if you're pushing in the middle of the corner, up off the corner, that means the driver can't get back to the throttle. And when you're here at a mile racetrack, the straightaway's this long, it'll make it look like the engine's not running. So it is a big compromise to where you can get that thing turning through the middle of the corner and get them back to the throttle.
Jimmy Johnson is running well. You may not know the name, but the American Speed Association driver right behind Dick Trickle. Trickle's in the 5. Johnson is in that white number 92. That is 10th and 11th right now as we ride with Jimmy Johnson.
let's take a look at the little telemetry here. 140 miles an hour, just like I said, down into a flat corner, down to about 53, 52. And now he starts to accelerate. Watch the RPMs on the right there. Going up 68, 7,000, 75, 7,800, 79 just before going into turn one.
Get it wound out pretty well.
Let's see what he runs in miles an hour down the back straightaway now. That's 124.
137, 144, 144, he topped
right
out.
at 144.
And you see the little red light there in the middle is, even though you are racing, and people say, well, now, wait a minute, you don't use brakes when you race. You're trying to use the throttle and go as fast as you can. Very important. You go off in the corner, see the brake light comes on, a little bit of brake, rolling through the center of the corner, off the brake pedal. And a lot of times, if a car is not turning at a flat racetrack like this, the driver will have to use a little more brake to make it go ahead and turn, make the front end cut.
Steve, I know you can't see Johnson all the way around the track from where you are on pit road, but he's making a nice smooth lap.
And he's chasing a good one, too. He dropped behind Dick Trickle.
Steve?
Yeah, Eli, you know, interesting thing about Jimmy Johnson, as you mentioned, he's an ASA regular competitor. He won his first career race at Memphis earlier this year. Now, they tested this Busch car here in Milwaukee. He ran a two-day test. They were not scheduled to run any Busch races until after the ASA season was over in October, but they tested so well they decided to run one of their 5 races here. And as you said, he's getting around this place pretty good. And also should mention his crew chief is a guy with lots of Winston Cup experience, Tony Liberati, who's better known as Rambo in the Winston Cup garage.
So that team is doing well. Others, Randy LaJoy is up to 13. Dale Earnhardt Jr. up to 16. And the folks are up to a lot of partying here in Milwaukee. To warm Milwaukee, Wisconsin. So hot that NASCAR has just told the crews you can take an extra guy over the wall on pit stops. Usually it's to take care of the windshield and make sure it's cleaned off and all nicely. They said, let that guy give your driver as much water and ice as they need. It's that kind of a steamy day here at the Milwaukee Mile. The lead, Casey Atwood. You see the interval right there. That is 0.6 of a second from the car on the left, Atwood, back to Todd Bodine. Then it's 2 seconds back to Jeff Green from Atwood to the third place runner. There's Todd, the 66th, and the lap car of Jeff Fuller. Then you come back around to another lap car, the 37, then the 32 of Jeff Green.
Eli, you can tell that Bodine is really cutting the lead down there. I think right now Atwood's car has developed a little handling problem, but it looks like to me that Bodine is really getting a better grip coming up out of the corner.
He definitely seems to be going through the center of the corner, and as you said, Buddy, getting a lot better acceleration and grip up off the corner. We're about 52 laps into this event, about halfway through a pit stop. It's here where these guys are really going to need to give their crew chiefs, hey, we're halfway through this run. They run about 100 laps on fuel and tires. This is what my race car is doing now.
You know, the guy in second, though, you talk about Todd Bodine running well. He's never had a top 10 here at the Milwaukee Mile. A couple of times he's finished 11th. He finished 31st once. And now they're going to start dealing with traffic here, too. And this is going to be a chance for Todd to really close in. If Atwood can't cleanly get around some of the others, he goes around Dillon. He's got to deal with Adam Petty now.
We'll see if experience comes in, because Casey Atwood does not have the experience of Bodine as far as getting through lap traffic, but he is a very aggressive young driver, so he'll take her on in there. You can bet on that.
But you know what? If I'm Casey Atwood's crew chief, I'm telling him, hey, we got a good race car. We've only got a fifth of this race under our belt. You be smooth and be easy. Work that lap traffic nice and easy.
Listening to Casey Atwood's radio.
Still there.
Trying to get by Adam Petty. That's two young guns. And you could see Casey Atwood's car break loose.
And here goes the
outside.
Todd Bodine for the lead. We talked about traffic, folks. And that's what happened.
What he did, he got in the throttle just a little bit too hard in the center part of the corner. The car kicked out in the back, and Bodine took advantage of it. Neither one of them got by Adam Petty, though. Adam trying to stay on the lead lap.
This is only the second race of the year that Todd Bodine has led. He led 19 laps at South Boston. Watch this a bit ago.
Casey Atwood right here. Watch him when he gets in the center part of the corner. He tries to get a run on Adam Petty. When he hits the throttle right here, you can watch it turn sideways just for a moment there, just enough to lose traction.
And I'll tell you, in fact, it's only his 30th Busch Series race for Atwood. He did a good job in saving it.
Yes, he did.
And there is the pass for the lead at lap number 56. As we are back live now, Todd Bodine, Atwood, Jeff Green, Mike Bliss, Jason Keller, your top five. Just led those few laps at South Boston. Even so, Todd is fifth in points. Now, granted, he's 398 back, but he's been terribly consistent.
You said he never really had that great of luck here, but he did wreck on the last lap coming down toward the checkered flag one time, decided to make a move on the inside and got into a lap traffic car and spun himself out. That's how close he came to victory here.
So at lap number 58, we continue under green. Todd Bodine is the second leader of the DieHard 250. Milwaukee, and a quick reminder, folks, you can experience right now Country.com, your personal source for all things country, including all the latest goings-on here at the Milwaukee Mile. From race cars to country stars, connect to Country.com. Or if you prefer, as many of us did last night while watching the Pepsi 400, we also logged on to NASCAR Online, got all the up-to-the-moment scoring as it unfolded. Anything you want to know from the world of NASCAR during the race, during the week, anytime. NASCAR Online at NASCAR.com, your 24-hour NASCAR Garage Pass. There is the number 38 machine, Glenn Allen Jr., running in 8th place as he makes his way around the 99 of Matt Hutter. Steve Burns, I was just looking down there, and they're kind of all waving at Glenn Allen as he goes by. What's going on there?
Well, Eli, that's because his radio has gone out now. They reverted back to the communication I think Buddy Baker used when he was driving race cars. They've made a sign, pit 38, and that's how he's going to find out hopefully find out how to get down here.
Thank you, Steve.
Well, he could have gone back to the old smoke signals
Well,
deal.
I was going to say, I thought they used a chisel and a rock.
The bell system.
We are at lap number 66. If you're a fan of Brad Leighton and that bunch, they have made 2 unscheduled pit stops, lap 58 and moments again. They're in again now, you see. So problems on that Bayer Alka-Seltzer machine. Brad Leighton from the NASCAR Busch North Series with a couple of unscheduled pit stops. Hey, buddy, by the way, how's your dad doing? You told us a few weeks ago he had pneumonia or something.
Yeah, I just want everybody to know he is totally recovered. He's back on 8 cylinders, and he's back at the driving school. He said, please tell everybody that I'm doing okay. I'm fine.
Good. Glad to hear that. Todd Bodine, Casey Atwood, the top 2 right there. You'll see the Napa rundown in the upper left-hand corner of your screen. The Napa field summary. You'll know exactly who's running where at Napa. We keep America running. 67 laps complete. Caution free.
You know, Casey Atwood's doing a very smart thing right now. He's just following in the tire tracks of Bodine around this racetrack, saving his race car. He has a great car now, and I think he's really kind of running easier going in the corner, and he may be coming back just a little bit. The car seems to be working much better now. He's not overdriving it in the corner like he was when he was leading.
And he's still able to run right around the bottom where Todd lets his car drift up just a little bit. His car definitely ain't going away. There you see him pulling right up on the rear bumper of Todd Bodine, the 66 car is off to the 1 and 2.
Dale Earnhardt Jr., by the way, up to 13th. There he is in the AC Delco Chevrolet.
I'm telling you, he's mowing these guys down. These are great race cars right now, and trying to go out there injured as he is right now and doing the job. That's Dick Trickle, a guy that can win on this racetrack any old time. He's catching him every lap, just past Mike McLaughlin. He is mowing these guys down. If he continues like this, he'll be up front before very long at all.
Steve, any word on how Dale is feeling behind the wheel?
Well, Eli, let's find out. Tony Uri Sr., the crew chief, is here. Tony, Dale looked like he was in pain when he got into the race car, but he's moving up. How does he feel?
Well, he said it bothers him more getting in and getting out of the car than it does when it's in there. We got him padded up good. We got gel packs packed all around him, so the injury itself not bothering him while he's driving the car. He's looking pretty good right now. The car is driving excellent. Trying to work our way up through there. We had to start in the back. It'll be a long day to get up there.
So the word from Tony Uri as Dale Earnhardt Jr. closes in on Dick Trickle in 12th place right now.
I've been keeping the clocks on him, not so much as to how fast he's running, but keeping the intervals between him and the leader. You know, we haven't had any cautions to bunch these guys back up. It's roughly around 31 seconds around this racetrack. He's about 10 seconds in front of the leader. He's about 2/3 of a lap down, or a third of the lap in front of the leader, and he's pretty much been keeping pace, but he's having to deal with cars you've seen over the last few laps. He's slowed down 2 or 3 tenths and he's caught Dick Trickle.
And the other thing I'm noticing on the 3 car, when he gets directly behind somebody, there seems to be a draft that makes your car lose a little bit of front downforce. You see him pushing out towards the wall right there as he comes off the corner. I don't think that the car itself will turn getting up off the corner as he's behind a car that's running pretty close to the same speed he is.
And a lot of times that's what will happen at a racetrack that carries these kind of speeds. Your front end will be planted, but then all of a sudden when you catch somebody, it takes the air off the nose and you lose your front downforce. The car won't turn.
But meanwhile, here come the lead automobiles now, not all that far behind. And it's quite a battle between that man, Todd Bodine, who took the lead at lap 56, and Casey Atwood, who led the first 55 laps. NASCAR Rocks Concert Tour this summer. And here are just a few of the dates and locations where you can catch this unprecedented 30-city music tour and festival featuring the Allman Brothers Band as they celebrate their 30th anniversary. Be sure to stay tuned to TNN for more information as NASCAR Rocks America. We are live with you here at the Milwaukee Mile. And there is the man who started on the outside of the front row, Elton Sawyer. He had been lapped already by lap 75, and Glenn, he's decided, what the heck, might as well come in.
Yeah, Eli, once he lost that lap, the car had been so loose, he just simply could not drive down in the turns. And so you see him making a major adjustment on the car right then. Putting fuel in the car and changing all 4 tires. But once they went a lap down, they decided to throw caution to the wind, come on in, try to fix that car. Maybe when the other cars come in and have to make a green flag pit stop. Maybe they can catch a caution or something, but he was losing so much ground, he just had to tighten it up.
And there you see some good battles coming in right behind. The 93 is Dave Blaney. 38, you saw Glenn Allen Jr. 17, that yellow car left of the screen, that is Matt Kenseth. So he and Blaney will be battling for position there, 6th and 7th.
Randy LaJoie right there in the red car.
Right, that number 1 machine. 74. Raines, he's back in 30th spot, a lap down. Riding now with Randy.
That looks like it's a great battle, but it costs these guys to run side by side like that. Randy LaJoie right now is just sitting there having to bide his time, hoping they'll sort this out and get single file pretty quick, because 2 cars running around the racetrack. Neither one of them can run the preferred line. As you see, almost contact there from Allen as he starts off the corner.
Now LaJoie is chasing the 38. The 38 has the spot just ahead of the 1. That black 74 is a lap down. You see them going by Elton Sawyer as he came off the pit lane.
He slowed very, very slow down the back straightaway, Sawyer has. It looked like the day may be over for him.
There he is in his Ford Taurus.
Definitely has a problem, because he had run, I think, 1, maybe 2 laps after that pit stop, and so he's definitely in trouble. But I think he will make it to the pits, I think.
Glenn, what are they telling you?
Oh, trouble on the back straightaway.
As cars spin, that's the 77 of Ed Berrier bringing out the caution. He is able to continue running in 23rd spot, but we are under yellow. Lap number 84, Ed Berrier spun off the number 2 corner. Glenn, I was about to come to you to ask what the problem is with Sawyer. What are they telling you?
Eli, they just gave me word the engine just shut off. They think it must have blown up, but it is definitely not running, and it does appear to be terminal. They've all left the pit stall now, and we're getting ready for pit stops here. But tough break for Elton Sawyer. He's way up in the points. Had really high hopes about maybe even winning this race because of his strong runs here in the past. He was second last year, and just not to be his day.
Elton is 4th in the NASCAR Busch Series point standing, so it is a devastating early race problem for that entire team, as Elton, you saw, goes to the garage. Watch what happened here with Ed Berrier. Let's see if we can pick it up. He's in a red 77.
He's coming off turn 2. There you see he's already sideways. Not a lot of traffic there. There you see some cars going to the bottom. Just loops it around and probably just gets away from him. Them old tires get pretty slick. That thing gets ill driving after 80-something laps. And pit road is going to be a busy place, guys.
All the leaders coming in, lap number 83. There you see Todd Bodine in the 66, the Castrol car, Atwood. You've got Bliss right behind in that blue and white number 35. And there, top to bottom, you've got Bodine, Atwood, Jeff Green, who's running 3rd in that 32.
I'm watching Dale Earnhardt Jr. as we watch everybody going into the pit. Dale Earnhardt Jr. is staying in the car. They go around to the left side on his car to change tires, so he is staying in the car.
Like Tony Uri said, probably hurts him more to get in and out than it does to drive it.
I believe they're going to have to back him up. Now the Jimmy Johnson car just got out of the way just in time where he was able to get out of the pits.
So pit stops under the first caution flag of the day at lap number 84. Glad you're with us here at the Milwaukee Mile. We're back in a moment. Been given up working on Elton Sawyer's car. Look at that one. That's a 2-ticket ride here at the Wisconsin State Fair Park. Pay your tickets, gets your ride on the race car.
He has the air cleaner off and everything, looking down in the carburetor itself, so something must be in the fuel system somewhere.
That's something. I mean, they were working while they were pushing the car towards the team transporter. Field is going to get the 1-to-go signal when they get back to the stripe as the work continues on the Elton Sawyer machine.
That's the carburetor we're talking about right there as they're starting to take it off. And as a matter of fact, they're looking down in the fuel lines themselves.
Hey, he looks like he's fixing to take the distributor cap off now. You know, and something like that could have happened. They could have broke a rotor button or something. But a lot of times, he takes that distributor cap off, and that rotor button's not turning. That's normally a sign you broke a camshaft.
So the work continues while we update you on the doings on the pit lane elsewhere. Glenn?
Oh, go.
Well, guys, Todd Bodine, the leader of the race, came in. He had a four-tire stop, put in fuel. They had a great stop. They also added around a bite to the car. They loosened it up a little bit this morning. It was too loose, but added around a bite out. He made a great stop, got out first, barely beating Casey Atwood. Casey also changed 4 tires of fuel. They made a track bar adjustment to try to tighten him up a little bit. Steve Burns?
Thanks, Glenn. Dale Earnhardt Jr., his biggest problem on this pit stop was simply getting out of the pits. They made a slight air pressure adjustment to that number 3 Chevrolet. And also Dave Blaney is running 7th, and I talked to his crew, and Larry Mack, maybe you can appreciate this. They're kind of surprised, as well as they are running. By their own admission, they were horrible in happy hour yesterday. They made wholesale adjustments this morning to the car, and they're actually, as I said, pleasantly surprised they're running as well as they are. They made some major changes to the chassis package on that car of Dave Blaney.
So Dave Blaney getting set on the restart, and for the record, after checking the video
Green.
at the exit to the pit lane, Casey Atwood does have the lead. So Casey Atwood did get the lead coming out of the pit lane. So Todd leads lap 56 through 85, and Casey Atwood reassumes the lead at lap 86.
Adam Petty, the second car in that group out there, was trying to get a lap back, just didn't have quite the ponies down the back straightaway.
If you're wondering where Jason Keller is, because you saw him in 5th before the pit stops, they had a tough time on the pit lane. He's back in 13th now. Dave Blaney giving us the ride at 6th, but he's outside with traffic to his inside.
There goes Bodine under Adam Petty down in turn 3 there. The 66 car makes his way by.
Looking back out the rear of the Jimmy Johnson machine to Dale Earnhardt Jr.
What do you call Dale Jr.?
Junebug. I'm not sure he's real happy with that nickname, though. But his dad gave him that nickname.
Curious about Randy LaJoy. He gained 3 spots on pit road. So did Jeff Purvis. LaJoy is 5th now. Purvis is 7th.
I want to talk about a car that gets him forward. Watch Dale Earnhardt Jr. just turn left there and accelerate right on by the 92.
That is the change for 10th right there. The 3 makes the inside pass. One car slowing a little bit. Andy Santerre. He'll be able to make it on around, but he's near the back of the field and slowing on the racetrack some through turns 3 and 4. Middle of the field, you see the 77 Ed Berrier. He's the fellow who spun before. He is a lap down and 25th in that red number 77.
Eli, the guys that fight it out for points all the time. Matt Kenseth and Dale Earnhardt Jr. are nose to tail right now going down into turn 3.
I just was fixing to say, I'm sure Matt looked up in his mirror and said, oh, Lord, there he is.
Look at that, 4 wide here in Milwaukee.
I'm noticing the cars, even though they're not down on the strips on the bottom part of the racetrack, they handle well enough. They can run the outside lane here. That's how they're able to pass cars that have the preferred line on the bottom.
Definitely seeing some good side-by-side racing, showing that this place definitely has 2 grooves of racing.
Jarrett's a heck of a battle.
Oh, it is a great battle, Eli. We're back here monitoring Elton Sawyer. He's sitting in the car. They have changed the distributor. They have been shooting some ether into the engine now. Elton, awfully tough break. I know you had high hopes coming into today.
The car qualified well, and we were way too loose when we started the race, and needed a caution there to adjust on it. But after we stopped there, I don't know, they're telling me now maybe we got water in the fuel or something. It just cut off after we made our pit stop. I hate it for my guys. They worked hard for any race car. Everyone at Wrecking Coleman I saw. Appreciate their support. Just wasn't our day.
I
Well, he said that exactly right. They continue to work on the car, but everything they try so far, it'll fire up and then die down again.
I feel a little bit better now. They were working on the carburetor. I did see them doing that, and all of a sudden they were on the distributor, and I went, wait a minute. But anyway, they're having a problem with the fueling system on the car.
Watch this battle. Second place now is shaping up as a hot scramble, and give it to the 32 of Jeff Green, moving Todd Bodine in the 66 back to third.
And right behind him, Mike Bliss has given the 35 car one heck of a ride.
And then Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Matt Kenseth for 7th. Earnhardt Jr. in the 3, Kenseth in the 17.
Side by side down into turn 3. Earnhardt gives him a little room there, but he has the preferred line. He should get a little bit better forward bite out of the corner here.
Boy, buddy, that car works around the bottom of the racetrack.
Yes, Lindo. Top 2 men in the NASCAR Busch Series point standings, Earnhardt Jr. and Kenseth. Earnhardt Jr. up by 129 points. And look at him pull off the corner.
Must be nice to be young. Go out there, hit the wall so hard you have to go to the hospital, come back to the racetrack, jump in a race car, and go right back to business as usual.
And for the record, yes, it is nice to be young.
You can remember, huh?
Oh, yeah. Lap 98 is on the board. Just joining us, only team with a problem of significance is Elton Sawyer, who remains behind the wall. We have had one caution flag when Ed Verrier spun off turn 2. He has continued on a hot, hot day here at the Milwaukee Mile. To see that sign up in these parts, Dick Trickle for president, the pride of Wisconsin Rapids, Wisconsin. We are under caution, as you might well have heard Buddy say just as we were breaking away. Kevin Grubb, one of many involved, Steve Burns.
Hey, Eli, he came in, the tire was flat on the left front. Heavy, heavy damage to the left front of this number 37 for Kevin Grubb. He came in here 16th in points. They were trying to make a move up. Now they can't even get the jack underneath. They're having to lift the car up literally just to get the jack under. But again, significant damage to the left front. Don't know if the suspension is damaged. They finally pull the tire off. They're going to have to pull all the sheet metal off the fender of this number 37.
Also involved in the accident, Curtis Markham, driving the number 72 car.
Yeah, and a lot of damage on the back part of the car there. As you can see, him way in. I wouldn't doubt that it didn't get into the right rear wheel enough to maybe move the rear end housing over just a little bit in that car.
Here's what happened, folks, off of turn 2.
That's Andy Santerre in the 47 spinning there.
There you see the 09 of Mike Garvey. There you see the 37 car of Kevin Grubb there. Curtis Markham spinning down there. He hit the inside retaining wall. So it looked like it all started with Andy Santerre losing it off turn 2.
Well, right in that area, there was a whole lot of cars together there. There was probably just a little bit of contact there. When you're passing and everybody starts racing off the corner like that, you're very loose there. If anybody touches you, that just sets off a chain reaction.
So there you see Andy Santerre's machine. The leader, Glenn, though, is still Casey Atwood.
Yeah, he is, Eli, but tell you what, they had a scare on that last caution right after they went back out after fueling and retiring the car. Casey called in and said he reported a little bit of a miss. The car was sputtering. His crew chief, Kip McCord, told him to change the ignition boxes, and he changed the ignition boxes. They also told him to turn off all his fans. Now, I'm talking about the cooling fans, not his fans at home or the fans in the stands or anything like that. And I only have 2 fans. That's my mom and dad. I keep them turned off all the time anyway. But anyway, they say the car is okay right now, but it gave them a little bit of a scare because the car has run so well so far, they don't want anything to go wrong.
Of course, it's convenient, though, for those fan club meetings. All you got to do is rent the nearest phone booth. We're at lap 103. That fan is doing its job. In the DieHard 250.
Still there. Still inside. Still there.
We're live at the Milwaukee Mile. Casey Atwood leads Jeff Green, Todd Bodine.
Still there.
Mike Bliss and Randy LaJoy.
Still inside. Still there.
You heard Casey Atwood's spotter pacing him on the restart.
Still inside. Still there. Still there. There you go. Still there.
32 Green trying to make move if he can. They get around Kenny Wallace.
Mike Bliss right now holding off 66 there of Bodine as they're having a whale of a battle back in the pack here.
Hey guys, we was
25,
watching it.
not on the lead lap.
We was watching it before that caution back at lap 84. Jeff Green, it's like his car has got better and better as this race has went on. He may very well have the best car out there right now.
Hang with him, buddy. We'll get a caution there. We can get him back.
Riding with
There's
Kenny
nobody
Wallace there,
behind
you
you.
can see that the 27 there, Casey Atwood, beginning to give up the low line just a little bit, where Jeff Green can stay a little bit lower in the corner, pick up the throttle a little quicker, it seems like.
The battle between Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Matt Kenseth is still ongoing. There you see Earnhardt Jr. in the 8th spot, car number 3. Then Matt Kenseth in the 17. They're also battling with that orange number 4 of Jeff Purvis, who is running in 7th spot.
Purvis uses a lot of racetrack down the straightaway, but he has that privilege because he is the leader in that group right there. He's ahead of Earnhardt, so when he sees him coming, he has that ability to move over in the racetrack and maybe cut him off getting in the corner.
Glenn, what are you hearing from the 17th?
Not good news at all, Eli. Someone from their team just handed me a note. Matt Kenseth has no clutch.
Uh-oh.
Boy, that can be, what that's going to really hurt him is on restarts, you know, trying to go through the gears. And, of course, if the clutch gets so hot, it could start slipping even up in 4th gear at speed.
And it's not going to be real great when he comes in the pit.
No, absolutely not.
Oh, tough break after those spins at Dover, at South Boston, and at Watkins Glen, as we showed you at the opening of our telecast. Now a clutch problem, which, when it slips, will also take some points with it.
I don't think the slip is what you have to worry about. I think what you have to worry about is not being able to use the gears at all.
Riding with Jimmy Johnson, the ASA star, still in 12th. He won earlier this year in Memphis, Tennessee in the American Speed Association. We're at lap 110. Brad Layton is in the garage area, the only team that is there. Elton Sawyer has returned 22 laps down. There's Shane Hall of the number 43 car.
Christopher in the 13 just in front of him there.
They are running well in Christopher's case, 28. But why doesn't Shane Hall take the role as our leader in the AutoZone Tech Fact today? Bringing you another Tech Fact presented by the more than 2,500 AutoZone stores across America. AutoZone, the best parts in auto parts. And what are we looking at that's so technical right there? I dare say that brake cable, huh?
Well, what we're looking at here is this cable right here. What this car has, it has dual master cylinders. It has a master cylinder for the front wheels and one for the rear wheels. And this cable, it's attached to a knob that the driver can either dial more front brake in or more rear brake. Now, the most common thing that'll happen at a track like this, we heard drivers talking about it earlier, is their car will be loose getting in. Well, what you can do is turn this knob to give it a little more front brake, and that'll tighten the car up under brake. And there you see, there's the brake pedal. Uses that brake getting down in the corner, feeds the throttle back, but he's still pumping that brake pedal to get it through the center of the corner, buddy.
I'll talk about my part, this part right here, the foot. Watch him when he goes down in the corner. He'll ease into it. He's going down the straightaway. Now watch him. He'll ease back. Now watch him ease back in the throttle now. And now watch him back off a little bit. Get a little bit of bite. See, and now he pumps it to go wide open.
And the thing about it, this is just this cable of this brake adjuster. It's just something that you can't have very many cockpit adjustments by the driver, but this is one thing he can adjust as the race goes on.
And that was another AutoZone Tech Fact for you as Shane Hall gives us the ride around, and Larry Mack and Buddy give us the instruction. Dale Earnhardt Jr., he's up to 7th now. Keeping our eyes on him along with a number of others. There's Dale Earnhardt Jr. running in 7th. He is 7 seconds behind the leader, Casey Atwood. Curtis Markham has taken his car to the garage area.
Boy, when Dale Earnhardt Jr. got by Jeff Purvis. He just rocketed away from him. This car is absolutely doing anything he wants it to right now.
There's a good scramble for third spot right now. Randy LaJoy in the 1. The 35 is Bliss. They are running in third and fourth, respectively, behind second place Jeff Green and the race leader Casey Atwood. So give that spot to Randy LaJoy.
I am so impressed with Mike Bliss. He's gotten into this car in the past couple of weeks. It really brought that race car to the front. And anybody that watched him in the truck division knows he has a lot of talent. He was a great open wheel driver. He's also very, very good in the Busch Grand National Circuit in just a few outings.
Of course, that battle is still almost 3 seconds behind that man, Casey Atwood, who continues to lead the field here at the Milwaukee Mile. We're on the fairgrounds, the Wisconsin State Fair Park, where it's hot enough to cook bratwursts. We have just seen the caution flag fly for Matt Hutter as he spins in turn number 4, brings out the third yellow flag of the day. Lap number 121, Matt Hutter with the problems in turn 4, and it's what we talked about on the pre-race, buddy. You can overdrive these corners so very easily.
Oh, yeah, and once you get out of the preferred line, this black part of the racetrack right there, that's the actual groove coming out of the corner. Once you get up in this area, believe you me, it's slick, because all the rubber dust and everything goes to the outside of the racetrack.
So there the team looks on. They'll see what can be done as Matt Hutter brings out the third caution flag of the afternoon. Casey Atwood led the first 55 laps. Todd Bodine led laps 56 through 85. And then lap 86, Casey Atwood reassumed the lead. So we have seen the lead change just among those two drivers, Casey Atwood and Todd Bodine, here at the Milwaukee Mile. Atwood leads Jeff Green. You see the Kleenex car right behind them. Then Randy LaJoy, Mike Bliss, Todd Bodine. Dale Earnhardt Jr. is 6th. Mike Blaney 7th. Glenn Allen Jr. is 8th. Then Jeff Purvis and Jason Keller, your top 10.
I tell you, I love it. I come to these Busch Grand National races. They've run 35 laps since they changed tires. Caution comes out. Everybody stays out on the racetrack. If we was at a Wednesday Cup race, pit road would look like a crowded parking lot at rush hour. But the thing we've not mentioned, they only have 3 sets of tires to run this race. The set they started on, basically the set that everybody changed when that first caution come on lap 84. We're about 2 laps shy of halfway, 127 laps to go. So they've got to save that final set of tires for later on in the event when it'll really count.
That's where this series, even the NASCAR Craftsman trucks yesterday, they had 4 sets for the entire weekend when they ran here, not just for the real. They had 4 sets when they showed up, and, you know, do what you want with them.
Well, and, you know, and I guess the fans at home are saying, now, look, what's the deal? Why do they limit the sets of tires? But I think it's good. You know, NASCAR does a wonderful job at looking at 3 things: safety, competition, and cost. And you just let them go carte blanche with tires, you know, next thing you know, the tire bills are going to be off the meter. And they do a good job at limiting that.
Cost effectiveness. Steve Burns?
Eli, Matt Hutter has just climbed from the car. Matt, looks like heavy damage to the right side. What happened?
Yeah, just got in that corner a little bit too hot. You know, racing up inside somebody there, and the track's starting to grease up some. And just misjudged entry of the corner a little bit, got in there a little deep. You know, it's too bad for the Red Man crew. They don't need this extra work.
Tough day for Matt Hutter, but as we said, a hot track, overdrive the corner, and that is the result right there. 1 lap shy of halfway, Casey Atwood leading at the Milwaukee Mile. Of the way into the restart here. Just on this lap, they got the green. 1 lap past halfway. Casey Atwood still shows the lead. Robert, Jeff Green, Randy LaJoy, Mike Bliss, and Bodine. There you see Matt Kenseth in the 17, who, with that clutch problem in the DeWalt car, still got going fairly well.
Eli, I don't see him having any problems even on restarts, and that's maybe due to the type of transmission he has in the car. We only speculated that, but he really took off quite well.
But he has a Jericho in there.
I was going to say, if he has a Jericho transmission, which is a lot like what most teams used to predominantly run just on road courses, It's straight cut gears, no synchronizer rings, and you shift it by the RPMs. The only time you need to clutch is actually when you leave the pit.
And the fellas on pit road just yelled up in our ear, he is using a Jericho transmission, so that's a break.
Yeah, you don't, I mean, the gears in the transmission are square, so you just jerk it in the gear. You don't have to worry about missing the gear.
NASCAR timing and scoring presented to you by MCI WorldCom. See where everybody is running. And Glenn, that's working out to be a decent situation for Matt Kenseth. It's not the end of the day.
Yeah, Robbie Reiser, the car owner and crew chief, just told me that they're okay. The cylinder went out of the clutch, but with the Jericho transmission, like you guys just explained, he's okay. He said that's not the problem. The problem they got right now, the car is very, very loose. They didn't want to give up track position under that caution right then to come in and make an adjustment. But they're over there all huddled together right now making those and deciding what they're going to do when they do come back in, because he is fighting a very loose race car.
Hey, Glenn, I heard you say a cylinder went out on the clutch. I take he must have a hydraulic clutch on that thing and not your old mechanical with the fork on it now.
That is exactly right, Larry.
Okay.
Technical end of this business, as you see the battle up front.
Yeah.
It's different than the old run what you brung days.
Let's point out something. This car right there, Dale Earnhardt Jr. is on a steady march to the front right now. He is in 6th place.
5th place is the 66 of Todd Bodine. The 10 there is Phil Parsons, and Phil is not on the lead lap at this stage of the afternoon.
The top speed is by the guy currently running first, Casey Atwood, 117 miles an hour. That's about 4 miles an hour slower than he qualified, but it shows that Goodyear's brought a good time.
Yeah, and let's explain why. He's out there with clear track in front of him, and Dale Earnhardt Jr. and those guys are back in lap traffic right now and having to pass cars that are a lap down and getting out of the groove a little bit. These cars are every bit as fast as the leaders once they get out and get the nose to tail and get going after these guys.
Dealing with the Duraloop car, that's Kenny Wallace. Kenny is in 19th, a lap down.
Oh, Dale Jr., don't do it.
Casey Atwood, the race leader, led it halfway, and he takes home the $2,000 Gatorade Front Runner Award. And this is all that's unfolding behind him.
Right there where his car is so strong, just past the center of the corner, he goes to pick that throttle up down the front stretch, pulls the inside of Todd Bodine, buddy.
That Hutter power that he has under there don't hurt much either. He's handling pretty good down the straightaway, if you notice. He just pulled out on Todd Bodine and just blew by him down the front straightaway.
So Dale Earnhardt Jr. now into the 5th position. A little different than leading 208 laps of 250 last year, but he'll take it any way he can get it.
Only because he started in the rear. If he started up
say,
front, I guarantee you they'd be chasing him right now, I think.
Watching that race car, it's running the same line and doing the same things that it did a year ago. Floats that thing through the middle of the corner right there, bam, picks the gas up. And as you said, handles pretty good down that straightaway, buddy.
Now, we just talked about Casey Atwood leading at halfway, but look at that. Only 2 of 8 races here have been won by the guy leading at the halfway point.
You got to remember earlier we said nobody's won this race twice either.
I looked at last lap speeds, and one of the fastest cars out there, of course, is Randy LaJoie in 3rd place. As we look at Casey Atwood just in front there, he's in the lead. Jeff Green in 2nd. This car right here. And just behind him, Randy LaJoie on a steady march to the front.
Now, on the racetrack, this battle is unfolding. If you are a follower of the number 33 car that Brad Layton drove earlier, that car has just returned, but Curtis Markham has gotten behind the wheel. So the Bayer Alka-Seltzer car, there you see him coming out from behind the pit wall. That was started by Brad Layton. It is now Curtis Markham, who has parked the number 72 that he normally rides in, and he was involved in that accident at lap 99. So Curtis Markham now in the number 33. There you see Ted Christopher, the Busch North Series standout, in the Whelen car number 13, as he brings it to the attention of the crew on pit road. That's lap 137. Casey Atwood shows the way. Got that half-second lead over both Jeff Green and Randy LaJoie, just past halfway in Milwaukee. Randy LaJoie is now up to second place. Remember, his best finish since his win at Daytona was a fourth at Rockingham and New Hampshire International Speedway. So LaJoie having a super day. And here's what happened moments ago, how he grabbed second.
Jeff Green pushes out as they come down the front straightaway. Randy LaJoie in the red car there on the inside. The number 1 car makes the pass on the inside, getting into turn 1. See Jeff Green washing out just a little bit in the corner.
Once you get to that door going into the corner, there's nothing you can do. The safest bet is back off and let him have the position.
Randy LaJoie has had only one bad run here over the years as you see him moving on up here in today's event. Over the years, Randy has finished here in 37th, then 3rd, 1st, and 10th. So overall, it's been a darn good racetrack for him, the Milwaukee Mile has been. And he's only 1 7/10 seconds behind that guy, Casey Atwood. You know where they've really been catching Casey today is when Atwood gets in traffic. That's been a bugaboo for him this afternoon.
Eli, I think it's just because Casey Atwood does not have the experience of lap traffic. He has not run enough races yet to have the confidence to really jump through traffic. Let me tell you, what he's doing right now, I don't know of another young man that's ever done this any better with the time that he has on the racetrack. What a talent. I said one time he reminds me of a young Fireball Roberts. He does. He has that finesse about himself, and you can just take a picture of that boy right there, and he'll be one of the greats of all times in the sport of auto racing.
18 years old, Casey Atwood just made the move around Chaffin. Another guy who runs over there in Nashville, Tennessee, at Nashville Speedway, USA.
You know, he says a razor blade lasts him about a month and a half. So. But I tell you what, he's a grown man in race. Adam Petty.
Adam Petty in the wall. No caution.
No, he's back underway and out of harm's way. See Justin Labonte go by on the outside there in the 44.
You know, when I said in the wall, he might have just kissed it, if that much, because there's no debris out there. And just a couple of scuffs there at the left rear of the car, you see. So not a significant impact, and we continue on. NASCAR officials say the track is clean.
This will tell us. Turned around backwards now. He goes up. He's got the brakes locked. Never touched it.
Never did touch it.
Never did touch anything. The only thing is if he slid those tires, how much damage he would have done to them. But he's back on the racetrack and moving away.
I imagine Kyle said, "Don't you hit that wall. I'll have to pay to fix it."
Adam Petty, learning a lot here.
Oh, yeah. What he's doing right now is just getting experience. Adam Petty has never been here, and right now he's getting valuable time on the racetrack. But under him, the race leader, look at the forward bite this car gets up out of the corner. Casey Atwood, a true top.
Clear.
He is clear to go around.
Clear all around. Good job.
Petty, by the way, is second in the Rookie of the Year standings behind Tony Range. A goodly distance back, but nevertheless, he is second. And you see some of the stats pertaining to Adam Petty. I love sitting around the garage area listening to him tell stories. He's a funny young man.
I got to tell you, when I'm sitting there, I just kind of wipe my eyes because he reminds me so much of Richard Petty at that same age. They're built alike, they talk alike, and you know what? They drive a lot alike, too.
Matt Kenseth still out there running well. He and Jimmy Johnson in the 92. That is for position. That's 11th spot up for grabs. The 43, Shane Hall, is not in that equation. He is right now 3 laps down in 34th. But Kenseth holding off Johnson in that white 97, or rather 92 car.
You got to give a call to Jimmy Johnson. I mean, we're 100 laps into this thing, 18 cars on the lead lap, and he's up here battling with Matt Kenseth for the 11th spot. So you got to give a good call. This guy's really running a smooth, smart race here today.
And Johnson, as he said earlier, only his 4th NASCAR Busch Series race. He ran last year at Indianapolis Raceway Park. He ran at Gateway outside of St. Louis and down in Homestead, Florida.
He's running a very, very tight line around the racetrack. He's not getting off the corner like he was earlier in the race. Mike McLaughlin just behind him in the 34, so watch Matt Kenseth get down in turn 3, but McLaughlin getting a great light up out of the corner now, too. And what we're getting into is the tires are starting to get hot again, and cars are beginning to give up a little bit. And if you stay on the very bottom of the racetrack, you can't get back in the throttle and have a good run off the corner.
We're about 30 laps away from there where they'll be on pit road again should they not get a caution, get that final set of tires.
17 cars remaining on the lead lap. Everybody chasing Casey Atwood as the stopwatches continue to work. Milwaukee Mile, Randy LaJoie in the 1, Jeff Green in the 32. They are 3.5 seconds behind Casey Atwood, the leader.
I think Jeff Green right now has the better of the two cars. I think Randy LaJoie really went after it a while ago, got by Jeff Green, but in the corners, Jeff Green's car is very, very good.
Plus, Jeff Green said, I really want to do well. He wants to, obviously, every week, but his sponsor, the Kimberly-Clark folks, based here in Wisconsin, that like to do well in front of those folks.
Well, he's done well the whole year. They've already won a race, and Jeff Green is a good talent, good family racing operations. I mean, he's for real. He'll be here for a long time.
He's third.
Hey, the Joy spotter up there.
Busch Series standings.
What?
I believe what we just heard, though, we had heard Jeff Green ask LaJoie's spot, or his spotter, if LaJoie's spotter was up there. I think Jeff Green feels like if LaJoie let him go around, they may be a little quicker because they're losing ground to Casey Atwood, who's went to 3.5 seconds in front of him.
That battle you're watching there, the 00 Buckshot Jones, the 17 Matt Kenseth, the 34 Mike McLaughlin, 5 Dick Trickle. They're all battling for position. That is 12th on back, 12th, 13th, 14th, and 15th.
Good race back there. Dick Trickle in the 5. He's looking low, high, everywhere. Got a good car entering the corner.
And you know also the 61 Tony Roper and the 47 Andy Santerre also battling there for position.
Yeah, they said the mirror fell off the 17. It just different things are happening to this car today, but that never bothered me when I lost the mirror.
When you lost the rear view mirror?
I knew where I'd been. I don't want to see.
I don't know about you.
There's a sick man behind these eyes. What do you think?
Yeah, it's all right. I think we're all half a bubble off plumb every now and then. Lap 161.
Yeah, you got to give a call to Andy Santerre. He's sitting there running in 17th position in the yellow 47 car there. Actually spun earlier, has stayed on the lead lap. And he needs this kind of a run here today. He needs to stay on the lead lap and run all day.
Wait a minute. I'm gonna blow the old the horn for a guy that's been around a long time. Look at this 5 right here, Dick Trickle. He still battles like a young man out there.
He's in 15th spot. He has 6 wins here, Trickle does, at the Milwaukee Mile. 5 of them in the American Speed Association as far back as 1979. He even won a USAC stock car race here back in 1981. And Dick Trickle in the number 5 car, hanging right in there, battling with the youngins.
Yeah, and something else, I've never seen him get out of the car exhausted. He gets out, he looks like he just got in the car. So he is one of those guys you talk about made out of wet leather. He's one of them.
And, you know, I mentioned his 6 wins. Got to throw in that 7th one in Artco competition. That graphic does give you the full story right there. Glenn, it's something watching Dick Trickle get around here.
Oh, it is, Eli. And as you guys were talking, he does great on this racetrack. He does great anywhere, but he loves it up here in Milwaukee, in the Wisconsin area. He's got a lot of fans here. But, buddy, you said something. You said when he gets out of the car, he looks just like he did when he got in it. Sometimes he looks kind of bad when he gets in it. Just kidding, just kidding. No, he's fun. I saw him out here when he was introduced for drive introduction, and the crowd absolutely went wild. They love Dick Trickle up here. He is their man.
And he has run down Mike McLaughlin in the 34 there. He's ticking them off pretty regular right now.
You're following Tim Fedowa. There he is, the Stanley Tools machine, slowing on the racetrack. He is back in 24th spot now. And he's coming into the attention of the crew at lap number 166. So problems for Tim Fedowa, who has run well here in the past. You see the Stanley crew waiting on Fedowa. Had the pole here back in 1997. Ran here. As a matter of fact, he was telling me this was the first racetrack he had ever run on that was over a half mile in length when he came to the American Speed Association years ago.
Looks like more than a routine stop. The hood is up.
Same car they used at South Boston and Nazareth, Steve, with a couple of top 5 finishes. I don't think so today, though, huh?
No, and Eli, you know what? They blew a motor right at the end of happy hour practice yesterday, changed motors. He is not under power right now. They're changing tires. As you said, the hood is up. I don't know if they're going to be able to get it restarted. But we do know they've lost some brake fluid, so lots of problems mounting for Tim Fedowa in the Stanley Tools Pontiac.
Meanwhile, watch this. You've got Mike Bliss in the 35, about to lose 4th place to Dale Earnhardt Jr.
They both side by side heading down in turn 1. Earnhardt giving no quarters here, right on the bottom of the racetrack. And you'd have to imagine he has to be under some pain as he goes through these flat corners. He's laying against a sore rib.
But, buddy, you're the driver, but I've worked with hurt drivers, and the greatest medicine in the world is a race car that works as good as that thing's working here today. It'll make you forget about a lot of your pain.
Yeah, he ran Mike Bliss down, but now he dropped back about 4 or 5 car lengths on him. Now he makes a hard run back down the front straightaway. But this is determination. If you've ever watched his father, Dale Earnhardt, drive, you know it runs in the family. He played hurt many times, Dale Earnhardt has, and the kid's out of the same mold.
We've got problems up in turn number 1 as Randy LaJoie, the 3rd place runner, has gone around in the corner.
You're clear
Left rear tire flat.
Just try to take it easy. Come on around.
And there's no caution at all. So he's going to have to limp around here and get in here under green flag. This is going to cost Randy probably 2, maybe 3 laps.
The only thing sitting up in the corner is discarded chunks of rubber.
Caution. Just try to limp in.
Just try to limp in, they tell him. What a heartbreaker.
Yeah, and that tire there
is coming apart. They're going to have caution. They've got caution.
Make sure you help him on the left side. You're going to have to help him get the jack under it.
You hear Mark Reno telling the crew they're going to have to get the jack on the left side because the car's so low to the ground.
Mark Reno is actually above us on the roof here at the Milwaukee Mile today, acting as the spotter for the team.
Here comes Randy down pit road now.
That
Cleveland.
carcass of the
4,
tire.
3, 2, 1. 4 tires.
That big carcass of the tire, Steve, just too much for NASCAR not to throw the caution.
Yeah, exactly. And his car is sitting on that left wheel rim. It just changed right side tires on Randy LaJoie's car. We need to find out. You know, he was running 2nd when this happened. If it did any damage to the suspension, the sheet metal looks okay over top. So that's the situation here on Randy LaJoie.
He's already lost 2 laps. He lost those 2 limping the car around
Randy.
to the pits.
Go!
Of course, he pitted now before pit road was open, but they had no choice. You know, you heard Mark Reno tell him you got to pit. You got to go ahead and take the penalty, which is a start at the end of the longest line for pitting too soon. But they had to do it. They had to get in there and change that tire.
And the reason for that is the tire itself comes apart, and they'll beat the inner panels out. And you can't even drive the car once you knock the inner panels out.
So now at lap 172, you've got Atwood, Jeff Green, and Mike Bliss coming in along with everybody else on the lead lap for their pit stops. And fuel-wise, we're in the window to go the distance here. You're looking at, what, 78 miles worth of racing or so.
And this will be their last set of tires, so it's pretty much you hope you make those right adjustments, the final adjustments, get 4 good tires, get that thing full of gas. Need to win their off pit road.
Earnhardt Jr. got a great pit stop. That's him coming out right there.
And there you see the total time on pit road for the teams as they made their stops. Oh, Dick Trickle problems. backing him up. Remember when he had the battle with Buckshot Jones here? A few years ago, he had the problem and spun late in the day. Always seems to be something ruining the day for Dick Trickle. Saturday night at the races, we'll have ASA action here on TNN. You'll see the Pontiac Excitement 250 from Hawkeye Down Speedway in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. It's a great short track battle coming up after the duel in the Dakotas. It's all this coming Saturday night right here on TNN Motorsports. Welcome back to the Milwaukee Mile. Eli Gold, Buddy Baker, Larry McReynolds, Glenn Jarrett, Steve Burns, and thousands of race fans who have packed this legendary racetrack that has held races of sorts, be it four-legged or four-wheeled races, for the last 97 years. Let's update you on pit stops, Steve Burns.
Okay, Eli, we've been talking to the crews down here. Went to Tony Uri Jr. They didn't make any adjustments at all, maybe a slight air adjustment, but otherwise the number 3 car is in good shape. 4 tires. Checked with Harold Holly, the crew chief on the 32 of Jeff Green. They did the same thing, slight air pressure adjustment. Otherwise, 4 tires, and they're ready to go to the distance. How about you, Glenn Jarrett?
Well, Steve, there was trouble in Casey Atwood's pit. He came in the leader. He's now in second place behind Jeff Green. They changed 4 tires. They made no changes to the car, so there's no chassis adjustments. I can't imagine why they would do that. It's so good. But they had a problem with the right rear, so they lost a lot of time. That's when they lost the lead. Meanwhile, Todd Bodine, who was the only other person that had led the race, so Jeff Green does now, they had been fighting a vibration on the left side. They didn't find anything. They changed 4 tires of fuel. And remember, I told you the car was a little bit loose earlier, and they tightened it up. Well, it was too tight, so they took that round wedge they put in it back out. So it's back like it was in the beginning, Todd hopes.
During the sequencing of pit stops, Randy LaJoy picks up one of the laps he had lost, so he is the lap down in 21st spot here at the Milwaukee Mile.
Pep Boys knows.
Welcome back, everybody. We are under caution as the field went back to green. Jason Keller, you see him there in turn 1, and that is Bobby Hamilton Jr. driving the Jeff Hensley car, having taken over from Chuck Bound. And we are under caution for the 5th time. Here's what happened. Actually, Keller spun twice. That's where he ended up the 2nd time. Larry Mack?
This was about 2 laps after a restart. There you see Bobby Hamilton Jr. is already sideways. Nowhere for Jason Keller to go. Gets into him, spins here. Bobby Hamilton Jr. hits the inside wall. Jason Keller sliding backwards, buddy.
Yeah, you can see right there a lot of damage, a lot of fluids coming out of this car because the oil cooler and all is right up there on the nose of the car. You see a lot of...
This is coming off turn 4. There you see Mike Bliss.
Mike Bliss,
hits
yes,
the
the
outside
35
wall.
car hits the outside.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
That's what it was. And I guess Todd Bodine got a piece of Hamilton after Hamilton checked up when he saw Bliss bang the wall. Look at that big old bumper there. And remarkably, nobody... There goes Garvey missing it. Nobody gets over that piece of... and then when Keller got down into the corner...
Well, he spun in his own fluids there. You can see under the left side there. Watch the car go around as the oil cooler's pouring oil out on the racetrack. He just got in his own oil and spun around.
It's really a shame. He was having a good run, too, staying right there in that top 10.
And so is old Mike Bliss having himself a good run.
See Mike Bliss, Jason Keller, Bobby Hamilton Jr., 3 or 4 cars involved. And this will happen a lot of times after a restart. You know, the pressure will be down on the tires, buddy, and the cars are just, they won't turn quite as good off the corner. That pressure builds up. Looks like maybe it just got away from Mike up off of turn 4.
Yeah, and when he hit like that, everybody behind him thought he was going to spin because he hit the wall so hard, and they started checking up, and the people behind, it's like on the interstate when people start checking up, and you run out of room to brake, and all of a sudden there's contact, and there's chain reaction.
So we're at lap 180. There you see Jeff Fuller. There's Mike Bliss's car, Glenn.
Yeah, he's back in, Eli. They're looking at the right side there. He changed the right front tire a while ago. He told Barry Dodson on the radio after that happened, he said, Mike, he said, Barry, the car got a good bite coming off the corner. All at once it just picked up like an arrow push. He said it just got away from me, and I got up in the wall. Just one of those things, like you say, Larry, on a restart, those things will happen. But he said it just broke loose all at once.
Well, he's back on the racetrack, but the side of that race car is as flat as a biscuit board. So he's got a lot of damage to that car as far as the running gear.
Well, you know, the thing about it, he can live maybe with the sheet metal damage there, but if he hit hard enough that it bent some ball joints in the right front, knocked the toe out or something like that, or moved the rear end over, that's where he's going to have problems.
Saw the crew members discussing things. Barry Dodson on the radio talking to Mike Bliss. The leader is still Jeff Green. Took over the top spot at lap 173 after everybody made pit stops. And you see all that oil that was put down on the track. They're having to cover it up with Speedy Dry now, so it'll be a bit of a lengthier caution. Jeff Green, the leader, has finished 3rd and 7th here over the years. Matter of fact, back in 1995, Green wasn't driving for this team then, but he led 119 miles of the event that day. So we shouldn't be surprised that he's at the head of the field. More work on the Bliss car, Glenn.
Barry Dodson just told me that it moved the rear track bar, the Panhard bar over, and so it had to have moved the rear end a little bit too, just like you guys were speculating. So they're up under the car now, trying to get the rear end back in place. But I got to suspect that it's going to drive nowhere near as well as it did before.
So while work continues on pit road and the caution laps click off on the board, we're going to break away and take care of some business. Jeff Green leads at the Milwaukee Mile. Here at the Milwaukee Mile after a multi-car accident at lap 177 that has put us under the caution flag for the 5th time this afternoon. Mike Bliss back on the pit lane yet again. He was the man who actually triggered the incident by tagging the wall coming out of turn number 4. Saw that white car bounce off the wall. 63 Bobby Hamilton Jr., 57 Jason Keller.
There you see Jason going to drive away, buddy, and you can see the liquid pouring out.
From Jimmy Johnson's onboard camera.
Adam Petty, he goes sailing up here and the racetrack's almost lost. He had nowhere to go. He really had to check up there.
So the caution is on the speedway. Again, Jeff Green is the race leader. He took the lead back on lap 173 when everybody pitted after the Randy LaJoie spin of a short while ago. And that is how Green got the lead on the pit lane. Casey Atwood is 2nd. Dale Earnhardt Jr. is 3rd. Dave Blaney, Glenn Allen Jr., your top 5. Todd Bodine is 6th. Buckshot Jones is 7th, and Jeff Purvis. Tony Roper, a super run. The rookie is in 9th, and Mike McLaughlin now running in the 10th spot.
Matt Kenseth in 11th.
And Jimmy Johnson, Dick Trickle, Mike Bliss, who remains on the lead lap. Andy Santerre and Bobby Hillin as you ride along with Randy LaJoie. Randy is now being shown a lap down in 23rd position. Don't forget, coming up next weekend, matter of fact, a week from today, we have got NASCAR Winston Cup racing right here on TNN Motorsports. The Jiffy Lube 300 weekend before the race. We'll give you all the latest news in the garage area. Our preview show, that'll start at 12:30 p.m. Eastern, 9:30 Pacific. Then watch the Jiffy Lube 300 right after the preview. That's all coming up next weekend, next Sunday, week from today, right here on TNN Motorsports. So you can make your plans to join us next weekend. The attrition rate has grown, the list growing with Matt Hutter, Ted Christopher, Bobby Hamilton Jr., and now this man, Jason Keller, apparently done for the day.
Eli, Jason had just climbed from the car. Jason, heavy damage to the car. Tell us what happened from your point of view.
I don't know. I just saw the 35 get into the wall, and then it's like one of those chain reactions. I checked up, but the guy behind me didn't, and had my rear tires picked up off the ground, and then just didn't have anywhere to go, you know. I'd like to wish everybody a happy 4th of July. That's not the way I want to spend mine, but, you know, that's the way it goes. And Deb, Joe, and Jade, I'll be home tonight, and I'd like to tell the Crow family we're thinking about them also.
Again, those of you who are just tuning in may not be aware, Jeff Krogh, one of the NASCAR Busch Series drivers, injured fairly seriously here yesterday in a practice accident. He is, at last report, still in a coma here in Milwaukee at a hospital, though his vital signs are getting stronger, we are told. But that's what everybody refers to when they talk about the Krogh family. Everybody's prayers with Jeff Krogh as he is hospitalized here in Milwaukee after the accident of yesterday. The other guy who was banged up yesterday, albeit far less severely, is Dale Earnhardt Jr., running in third spot right now, has that chipped bone at the tip of the shoulder blade, as we said on the pre-race, kind of like what Bobby Labonte had to endure there in NASCAR Winston Cup competition earlier.
Yeah, and a little bit of rib damage, and that's really painful on a flat track because you lay right against the right side seat. It kind of wraps around the rib cage, and right now is probably more painful than when he's racing, because when he's racing, he's really concentrating on what he's doing. Right now, he's going, you know, that's not very comfortable. Now, he gets back in there and starts trying to win this race. He does not even have a rib cage.
Of course, if Dale Earnhardt Jr. wins today, he would tie Sam Ard for one of those great records in NASCAR's Busch Series history. Sam with 4 wins in a row: South Boston, Martinsville, Orange County Speedway, and Charlotte back in 1983. And he's the only guy to have won 4 in a row. Sam Ard, boy, could that man drive a race car.
Absolutely, one of the greats of all time.
Many, many fine runs we have enjoyed watching from Sam over the years. Green flag. Lap 188 of 250 here at the Milwaukee Mile.
They're all walking on glass right there. There's a lot of oil dry. You can see it coming up in behind
Kenny
the
Wallace
cars there.
getting loose, trying to get that lap back. I believe Kenny's been trying to get that lap back for about 150 laps.
He's persistent, but that is very slick getting into turn 1, as you can see, and the oil dry was just kicking up. It absorbs the oil, but sometimes it's almost as slick as the oil itself.
Looking rearward from Kenny Wallace's car, back towards second place Casey Atwood.
You can still see the car slipping around back there.
Well, Casey got pretty loose right there. There you see Bill Parsons, whose lap cars, a bunch of cars getting underneath it.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. making a move on the inside as they go down in the corner. Casey Atwood on the outside fights back as they head for the front straightaway.
That's for second place. The cars ahead of them, 43 Hall and 10 Parsons, are not on the lead lap.
Now you have to have patience. Those are lap cars in front. Dale Earnhardt Jr. on the bottom got a break right there. You can see Phil Parsons got hit from behind by Casey Atwood as they started off the corner.
And Buckshot Jones spins up in the corner. He was running in 7th place. No caution.
You got to believe there's something going on down there in turn 1 and 2. We saw several cars get loose down there, Buddy. You talked about it. Even though oil was put down, they put oil dry down. They had to put so much, it's probably pretty slick down there.
Well, you can see the oil line down the straightaway. The corner looks pretty good right there, though. Jason Keller, as you can see, the oil drive there stops before halfway of the corner.
Here's what happened moments ago with the 0-0.
He just got up out of that groove and got sideways and spun there right down there in turn 1 and 2.
That's easy to explain. You see the black part of the racetrack there is very clean. You get outside there, there's dust and all the oil drive that was blown up to the high side of the racetrack. That's what he got into.
Now some good battles shaping up. You see Todd Bodine, or you just did moments ago, the 66 car. He and Glenn Allen Jr. in the 38. That is 4th position. Wayne Grubb has taken his car to the garage area. So add Wayne Grubb to the attrition list.
That's very close. Phil Parsons is flirting with a lot of problems by running that high in the corner. His car won't turn. He almost got in the loose stuff just then.
Looking back towards Casey Atwood.
Eli, you could hear him check back up as they started off the corner there, you could hear the car get that arrow push that we're talking about, and you can see Casey Atwood moving on the inside there, getting ready to go down the back straightaway in the 27 car.
So he pulls around Shane Hall, who was not on the lead lap, but was race traffic that had to be dealt with. As Jeff Green is pulled away, look at that margin now. Here comes Green, and then 2.6 seconds back to Dale Earnhardt Jr. and works around Kenny Wallace in the 25 car. A lot of racing to go. 56 miles remain. Leader Jeff Green, who is leading for the 9th time in the 1999 season. Who's quickest? Dale Earnhardt Jr.
Wow.
But he's still 2.5 seconds back of Jeff Green, but he's also got 52 miles with to work.
And the great part is he's now by himself out there, and he can race the racetrack instead of lap traffic and all that. So we'll see who has the muscle right now, as Dale Earnhardt looks to be the fastest car to me visually out there.
This is the 4th place battle. Dave Blaney is the fellow we're riding with, and the 38, Glenn Allen Jr., who, by the way, does have radio communications back with his crew now. He watched that spot. That's 4th and 5th. Then the 1 car behind them, Randy LaJoy, he is still a lap down at 18th. We're riding with Randy now.
Randy had a left rear go flat if you're just joining us, and the car has been up front most of the day, so he has a great race car, but he had to limp around the racetrack with the left rear flat and off the lap.
Look at that. Glenn Allen Jr. has the spot ahead of Dave Blaney. And if Glenn Allen can stay there, he hasn't been a top 5 since November of '97. Not last year, but a year further back. At Homestead, he ran 4th. That was Glenn Allen's last top 5 in the Busch Series. So certainly he's due, and then some. Parker's having a pretty decent run. Picked up 17 spots since the get-go.
And a great run at South Boston not long ago.
Yeah.
Had a was he 3rd place there?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, he was. And he's got top 10s now in 2 straight races and 3 of the last 4. Oh, Blaney gave us the ride into the wall. Wow. You were with Dave Blaney as he went wide off turn 2.
You're clear.
And
All
slapped
clear.
the wall.
It was almost the same thing that happened to Mike Bliss, just at the opposite end of the racetrack. Up off the corner, you think you're good, you're straight, and all of a sudden the car just pushes right into the wall.
Let's take a look at that again. We'll slow it down for you.
The 93 right there. Watch him get up into the out. Ah, man, hard lick there.
Not sure if it hit one of the wheels. For sure it caught that right rear. We just have to see how this thing goes and if it affects his speeds and handling.
Well, it'd certainly affect my brain if I was in that car, because I know when you hit like that, you move the fenders down on the tires 9 out of 10 times.
This is for 2nd place now, folks. Let's see here. A couple of the young guns. Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the 3. Casey Atwood in the 27-hour pole sitter.
No contest.
No contest.
There you go. Still there. Still there.
It's
clear.
one
Great
thing
job.
to
Come
pass
on.
them on the inside here. When you drive by them on the outside, that's pretty strong.
Yep.
They're now 2 8/10 seconds behind Jeff Green. And we are now within the final 50 miles, 46 to go.
You know, we talked earlier, I was talking about if I was Casey Atwood's crew chief, and this was early in the race, seemed like he had one of the best race cars. Just be patient with lap traffic. You know, we're less than 50 laps to go, 45 laps to go. You got Dale Earnhardt Jr. there that you just went by, and you don't have lap traffic to deal with now. You're still telling them, be smooth, focus, hit your marks, because now you got to take a little bit of that conservative out of it and go after it.
I'd say Casey Atwood right now is probably sitting there thinking, I already have a second. I want to win.
You betcha.
Got some traffic to deal with. The 37, that green and blue car of Kevin Grubb.
Clear. Clear.
One thing we'll have to remember, you know, even though I'm sure if this thing goes green for the next 45 laps, yeah, Casey Atwood will have lap traffic to deal with, but Jeff Green's going to have to deal with them before Casey Atwood gets to him.
Yeah, and then they're looking for the second place car. When the leader goes by, everybody knows, okay, the leaders are coming. So they actually sometimes being in second better than leading when you get to lap traffic.
And if I'm Casey Atwood's spotter, I'm already running around the roof making deals with everybody. Hey, when we get to you, how about give us a break?
We watched you last night. You're a big wheeler and dealer.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Jeff Green continues to lead, and he's third in points this year. And you see all the spotters up there on the roof? Maybe they are making some deals. Want a location of one near you or how you can contact them to ship you a special gift? Just call that number you see on the screen, 615-883-7000. Call them Monday through Friday. Jeff Green continues as the race leader. Who's running where? Well, why don't we take you all the way back so you'll know what's cooking on the racetrack right now. Jeff Green is the race leader. That's Casey Atwood, 2 1/10 seconds behind. So he is closing in on the race leader now with 213 of 250 miles complete. That is Dale Earnhardt Jr. He's 4.3 seconds behind Jeff Green, running in third. Then you've got Justin Labonte. He has made some unscheduled pit stops. He is 8 laps down, running in 33rd position, Justin Labonte. Behind him on the racetrack, you'll find Jeff Fuller. And now Randy LaJoy actually beforehand gets around. Oh, and there's Adam Petty with a problem.
Right front's flat on that car. I can see from here that the right front's down on it.
He is in 27th spot, 4 laps down. Can he get to the pit lane?
Well, he's on the outside of the racetrack, and you can't turn across. Now, that car is really getting a whipping now. That tire is probably coming apart, and it'll probably start throwing rubber down on the racetrack.
And he'll have a mile to go.
You can see the tire right there is starting to unravel, but he's running slow enough that it's not coming apart yet.
This is going to hurt. Adam was already 4 laps down. He will continue to drop many more laps now. He's still 3/4 of a mile from making it back to the pits. And you saw shards of rubber just coming off.
Now the tire's starting to come apart. That's what I was talking about. But he's out of the racing groove as it's flopping along there. But it's really wearing that inside of the fender and the inner panels out in that car there.
NASCAR looking at it close, making sure no big pieces of rubber come off in that racing groove as he goes through turn 3 and 4, about another quarter mile to go to get in.
And as he goes past every NASCAR observer, the NASCAR tower is saying clear still, and they're saying, yes, clear back here, clear back here. But Adam is now losing more and more laps.
He lost a piece there, but I think that's out of the racing groove enough there off the exit of turn 4 that it shouldn't be a problem here with about 33 laps to go.
Pit stop, lap 217.
Eli, you heard me talking about how much that tire does. Look at the front of this car right here. It's actually knocked pieces of the fender off of the car.
Adam will end up being about 7 laps down, maybe 8, depending upon how quickly he gets up to speed. Meanwhile, that's the battle for 6th. Todd Bodine in the 66 and the 17, Matt Kenseth. That is for position, and so too the guy ahead of them, the Amoco car for Dave Blaney. He's running 5th. Riding with Blaney.
Todd Bodine running much lower than Blaney through the corner. Matt Kenseth kind of in the middle there. Everybody's got an idea what it takes to get around here right now, and you adjust your groove around the racetrack as to how your car handles.
I mean, that's the thing. You get this late in the race, you've got to keep searching around how your car get around here the quickest. You're no longer trying to conserve tire. You're trying to find the quickest way around this racetrack with about 30 laps to go.
Around Justin Labonte they go. Again, that is 5th, 6th, and 7th. Blaney, Todd Bodine, Matt Kenseth. Up front, things are tightening up now. The first car is the race leader. That's Jeff Green. Then you've got Mike Dillon, who is not on the lead lap. And there you see Casey Atwood. So call it what? about 7, 8, 9 car lengths at most.
Yeah, he's closed way down. Green had almost a 3/4 of a turn lead on him there when we started looking at him and comparing the distance between them. It's down to car lengths now as Casey Atwood able to keep that car anywhere he wants it, and he's very, very smooth. Now they're coming up on some lap traffic.
He's running almost a lane lower through the corner than Jeff Green is. I definitely believe that traffic could play a role in what happens to him.
Jason Keller back on the track. He is 44 laps down. Jason back out there, getting whatever points he can as we listen in to Casey Atwood's radio.
You know, it's just like watching Jeff Gordon when he first started winning in Winston Cup. You wonder how good Casey Atwood is actually going to be because he is so young. And right now he's on racetracks he's never been to before. And he's just doing things that you're not supposed to be able to do unless you're just a gifted athlete.
Steve, I don't know if Jeff Green's going to be able to hold him off.
Now, this is somewhat reminiscent, Eli. 1995, Jeff Green led 119 laps on this racetrack, driving the number 3 car. You know what impressed me Friday? Jeff Green came to the racetrack. The Busch cars didn't even have practice, yet he stood and watched the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. He watched the entire field qualify to see what sort of line they were running. So he's a real student of this game.
And look, it's getting even closer now. Casey Atwood, who finished 24th here a year ago around Buckshot Jones.
Buckshot had some problems earlier in the race. He just moved over and said, "You guys are racing for the lead, go on."
He's getting even closer, Glenn.
Yeah, yes, Eli. I came down here to their pit, was going to ask Kip McCord if I thought he had enough. I didn't get the question out of my mouth. He just gave me a big grin. They've been talking to him, like Larry said, to keep him patient, and he has done that. He is running his own line, his own race, and they don't have any doubt that Casey's going to be able to overtake Jeff. And personally, I don't either. That race car has pretty much been flawless since they made that very minor adjustment on it back on the very first pit stop around lap 85 or so. They haven't touched it since then, chassis-wise. It has been
25 to go. There you go. Working hard.
This is for the lead. Atwood has led 142
Still there. Still outside.
laps
Still outside. Still there.
already today.
Now, what he has to do, he's caught him. He's underneath him, but you could see he got in the throttle and got a little bit loose, had to back out. He's following Jeff Green. The car is much quicker getting into the corner than Green, but Green knows how to race. He knows how to protect the line. So Casey's going to get a lesson right now, one way or the other.
They're in a lot of lap traffic right now. There you see they go by Mike Bliss, who had the problem earlier.
They've got Tony Raines in that black car just ahead of them. I'll tell you something, that Jimmy Johnson, he's running 8th. Tony Roper is running 10th, highest running rookie right now. Super effort for him. A lot of guys making their names today. Inside of Raines they go.
Yow. I was worried about Elton Sawyer there on the inside. I was hoping he would give them racing room, which he did. Now, Casey's really starting to try a little too hard. Right. You can see him washing out in the corner. He ran him down when he was running the racetrack, and now he started trying to make too much advance on him. He'll have to just mentally set himself, okay, I have a great car, just start working, getting in the corner smoother and picking that throttle up nice and smooth.
You know what also I believe I watched him do right there in turn 4, buddy? It's like you've been watching Jeff Green get to the high groove there on the exit of the corner, and it's like Casey couldn't get the momentum down the straightaway. There you see him washing up in the outer groove there coming off too. He may be trying this line just a little bit.
Well, and the other thing we have talked about, a little aero push. If you catch a car that's pretty equal to you getting in the corner. Now,
well, it's going to be this ongoing battle here. Right in behind Jeff Green. Casey Atwood trying to make the pass.
Boy, they're running so much alike in the corner. It's going to be hard to get position to get by Jeff Green. As I said, he's a very smart race car driver. One eye in the mirror, one eye on the line.
They're about to put the 14th place runner Jeff Purvis a lap down. That's him in the 4 car.
Eli, I just wonder, both these guys started in Nashville, Tennessee. That has produced some great drivers. Both those guys were legends at that racetrack.
Nashville, one of those tracks, along with Hickory, Birmingham, Myrtle Beach. More and more stars have come from those racing facilities.
Well, right there is where his car seems to be so strong. And there you see Jeff Green moves up high on the exit. Keeps that thing wound up. Casey just can't get to him there.
And Casey almost pancaked that thing on the outside wall. He took off as he started off the corner and got that little bit of push as he started on the outside, and it almost got into the outside wall.
So the battle for the lead continues. 19 miles of racing remaining in Milwaukee. Everybody, the DieHard 250 still being contested between Jeff Green and Casey Atwood. The man running in third, Dale Earnhardt Jr., is 4 seconds back. The car's still skating out a little bit.
Just a little bit. He's giving it everything he has right now, but he may be just trying a little bit hard getting in the corner, but that's normal. But this is where his strong suit is, right in the middle part of the corner. When he keeps it down, he gets a great run on Jeff Green as they head down the front straightaway.
They work around Mike Garvey. He's in that green 09, the ASA driver, who is 5th in points in the American Speed Association. We told you Dale Earnhardt Jr. running back behind them. He is a full 4 seconds down now, right there in the number 3. So even if he doesn't win, he's done himself proud today with the injury of yesterday.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I just think of his father. You know, he broke his collarbone and went to a road course race, sat on the pole, and led 90% of the race. It's just in the genes, I think.
You know, the big thing I'm thinking about here is we have 13 laps to go. Should Jeff Green be able to hold him off? I'm going to trace it back to that last pit stop where Jeff Green's guys beat him off pit road.
Yeah, that got him the lead at lap 173. And boy, Jeff Green, you know, remember last week, they had transmission failure and finished 40th at Watkins Glen, but he had 6 straight top 10s before that. So this has been one of those special years. Casey Atwood trying to power him on the outside.
If Casey Atwood ever draws side by side with Jeff Green, it's all over, because he has a quicker car. But right now he's trying to make a move on a car that's running almost a perfect line around the racetrack. As I say that, he washes out a little bit. Casey Atwood takes a look on the inside, but you see Andy Santerre.
Santerre could be the factor here. Green, his family looking on.
Oh, we see some slower traffic just in front of him. Casey Atwood has a position. Jeff Fuller's there, though he had to back out.
So Atwood was able to use Santerre, but Green came back and used Jeff Fuller as the block. And you know, folks, this is what we always talk about. Sometimes you say it's an overused statement, how it's easier to catch a guy, but passing him is something else. Classic example here today.
Eli, just a great race car running a perfect line around the racetrack. To get by him, you have to take an imperfect line to get by him, and sometimes you just can't do it.
Well said. Well said. Dale Earnhardt Jr. still 3 7/10 seconds behind. They'll close in on Kevin Grubb. There go the leaders. Here comes Dale Earnhardt Jr., 4 seconds back. Glenn Allen Jr. is 4th, Matt Kenseth 5th. All the leaders pitted.
Oh, did you see that?
You see that?
Casey Atwood almost got into the outside wall there. He had a wiggle coming off that corner. He just about got into the outside wall. Didn't mean to scare people at home, but If you get into the outside wall, you're going to damage the car enough that it will not handle well from then on.
He knows there's 7 laps to go next time by, and he's pulling out all the stops. He's tried high, he's tried low, and now he's doing all he can to try to get by that Jeff Green.
And the graphic we put up seconds ago showing no wins from the pole, that's because Atwood started on the pole. Here he goes. Casey Atwood trying for the lead in turn 1.
Oh, and Jeff Green give him room on the bottom. They going almost side by side, but look at Green on the outside, getting that grip off the corner.
Jeff Green had that high line, was able to keep that engine wound up and beat him off the corner on the backstretch.
2 of the NASCAR young guns putting on a show here in front of a full house at the Milwaukee Mile.
See Jeff Green's wife there. She's sitting up there. She's scoring his car. Every lap he comes by, he's putting the times down. They keep records on everything. You think she's nervous?
Yeah, Michelle is nervous, no doubt about it. Jeff Green, he is in 3rd place in points, even though he missed a race this year. Remember when we were at Rockingham? He wasn't in the field, but he's still 3rd in points.
Got about 4.5 miles to go. Quite a string of lap traffic, just about a second half out in front of them. Maybe 7 or 8 cars not running side by side, so be interesting to see what happens.
Casey's still looking on the inside, trying to get that grip on just on the bottom side, but Jeff Green is doing everything you're supposed to do, but one slip, and we have a new winner in the Grand National Series.
Jeff Green, he won in Nashville earlier this year.
Oh boy, you know what's going to happen? We're going to have lap traffic.
Yep. And take a look now as we widen out. You'll see the traffic ahead. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 cars that they're going to have to deal with here in the final 4 miles.
Oh, Casey's looking on the outside. He's tempted, isn't he?
He's wanting to go up there, but he knows that hadn't been successful early for him.
Except for one time when he passed Dale Earnhardt Jr. not long ago. I'm sure he put that in the category. You know, he thought about it and said, okay, I can do it if I have to, maybe.
Have to, maybe.
Positively, maybe. See, I'm giving the flagman, he's giving them the move-over flag as Bobby Hillen there in the 8 moves to the inside, gives them the outside of the racetrack.
It'll be the white flag next time by, so they've got 1.5 miles to settle it.
Eli, he had a run off the corner there. He's looking to the inside as they head into turn 3.
Green doesn't want to give him much room, and again, Jeff is strong, pulling him off the corner.
Well, he's keeping him tied down there, and he's having to be easy on the throttle.
White flag, last lap.
White flag. Now, if something happens to the front 2, remember Dale Earnhardt Jr. is running 3rd.
Man, oh man, this is what a race car driver lives for, the chance to win. And Casey Atwood, sitting in 2nd, has never won a Busch Grand National race.
Jeff Green has won twice
Oh,
before.
he gave him a little shot
And
there.
here we go for the win. Casey Atwood says, I'm not going to let this one get away.
Bring it on. You're all right.
Don't overdrive it.
Casey
Great
Atwood.
job, yes.
He has got himself a win on the NASCAR Busch Series.
Oh, was that one? He gave him just a little touch. Not enough to hurt him, but just moving him out of the groove just a little bit.
It reminds you of Matt Kenseth and Tony Stewart at Rockingham a year
And
ago.
a famous move made famous by Dale Earnhardt.
Indeed so. What a finish here in Milwaukee as Casey Atwood started first and finishes first. It is his first career win in his 30th start in the NASCAR Busch Series. Lots of happy faces. They're coming back to victory lane. Winners in 9 races at Milwaukee, and it's a first-time winner. Casey Atwood is in victory lane. Glenn?
And they're getting the Gatorade bath. Sorry, guys, let me through. I know. And Casey's going to climb up on the car now. Oh, he's going to give everybody a bath, looks like. but he ain't getting me. Okay, here we go.
Good job, buddy.
Casey Atwood, what a great, great race you ran. That last lap had to be so exciting, and for you as it was for us.
Yeah, I tell you what, we had a great car all day long. When we unloaded the truck, it was the fastest car off in practice, and man, I'm just so happy for all these guys. They worked so hard, and we got behind in the middle of the season trying to fix cars, and I feel like right now we're just getting our cars back together and everything back together, so hopefully we'll get a few more of these during the year.
Well, Casey, I got to ask you about that last lap down in turn 3 and 4. Looks like there was a little contact between you and Jeff.
Yeah, you know, I wanted that first win bad. You know how it is. But I need to thank Castro GTX. Ron Hutter had a great engine in here all day, Mountain Dew, and just thanks for this whole team working real hard.
Congratulations on a great, great job. What a way to finish this 4th of July weekend. Casey Atwood picking up his first win, but Steve Burns is with the disappointed Jeff Green.
Thank you, Glenn. Jeff, that was a great race. I know you're disappointed. Tell us about the end.
Well, Casey he deserved to win the race. My hat's off to those guys, but turning somebody sideways to do it, you know, I could have done it a couple weeks ago, and I don't drive that way, so evidently he does. We're going to race a lot more here together later on in the year, and hopefully it comes down to us again. But he deserved to win, but McLean Chevrolet was awesome. Those guys got me out at first there on that last stop, and strode my heart out. We just couldn't get it quite right up off the corner. Everything we did to it made it worse somewhere else, so proud of McLean bunch. They did a great job today, and this is where we need to be, right here in this top 5 every week. And wasn't for that front bumper, we'd be over there.
All right, thanks, Jeff. Let's go to Glenn.
And I'm standing by with a guy who I think put in the most courageous performance I've ever seen. What a great job, man. To come home third, starting in the rear with the pain you were in, that was a great, great effort.
Well, I got to hand it to Tony and Tony Jr. for putting a good, comfortable car under me. Allowed me to relax a lot more than normal, not have to drive over my head a lot, and still be able to keep the car up in the top 3, top 5, or whatever. And I might have, you know, if Ron was in the car, he might have been able to race it harder and maybe race for the win or for second or whatever, but I had a hard time giving the car up. I saw we was gaining some spots and didn't know exactly how hard I could run, and then it came time to go to run hard, and I just couldn't really lean over in the seat like I wanted to and feel the car slide around and see how much I had underneath me. So I just kind of had to give up a lot, but it's a shame. I mean, these guys deserve a whole lot more than this. I mean, we was going for 4 in a row, and we would have had it. With that other car, I feel we had a better chance anyways.
I don't think they feel too bad about you. Did you have much pain while you were in the car? Did you put that out of your mind? How do you feel now, Dale?
Most of the time I could get it out of my mind, but near the end, when I needed to drive hard, I couldn't lean in the seat and stuff, lean on the shoulder much. But most of the day, I could hold myself up in the seat with my left hand, and that got hard to do after a while. It was just wearing me out. Maybe I need to work out some more. I don't know.
Well, I don't think he needs to apologize to anybody. What a great effort. You can tell he's absolutely worn out, but, man, he deserves to be. What a great effort by Dale Earnhardt Jr. to come home third today.
I think he's a little too hard on himself right there. He did
Oh
himself
boy,
a day's
you're
work
exactly
and then some.
right.
Yeah. There you see the unofficial finishing order. Jimmy Johnson coming home in 7th today. Dick Trickle, Tony Roper, great runs for all of those drivers. Andy Santerre did himself proud, just third race back after the injuries. Butch Miller in 18th. Oh, Mike Bliss had to settle for 24th. He was in the top 5 all day till he hit the wall.
Yeah, great run. Just got a little bit high coming out of turn 4 and got into the outside wall and wiped his chances to win out. I think he had a great car.
And there you see those who finished down the line with a myriad of problems over the course of the 250 miles here in the state of Wisconsin today. Casey Atwood, the winner. He turns 19 on the 25th of August. An early birthday present for Casey. Fans filing out of the Milwaukee Mile here on the Wisconsin State Fair Park Complex. It was a beautiful day. And what a special day for Casey Atwood. Picked up his first win. What does it mean as far as points are concerned? That's how they will stack up at this stage of the season. 18 of 32 races are complete. Again, the finish was spectacular. Casey Atwood said, I was not going to let this chance for a victory, my first, get away. Just roots Jeff Green out of the way and picks up the win here at the Milwaukee Mile. Casey Atwood visiting with Al Robinson, the public address announcer here at the Milwaukee Mile. A big thank you to Buddy Baker and Larry McReynolds, who spend the day with us today after last night's time in Daytona Beach. Down on the pit lane, Glenn Jarrett and Steve Burns. I'm Eli Gold. Hope you can join us next weekend as TNN goes to New Hampshire International Speedway for NASCAR Winston Cup competition. But for now, we bid you a good afternoon from